Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here and today we're talking about a new concealer. This one is from Makeup Revolution and it's their Conceal and Define Full Coverage Concealer. I know this concealer isn't brand new, but I had the hardest time getting my hands on this. I went into a bunch of different Ulta stores. They were completely sold out of any shade that would be remotely close to me. Ulta.com was completely sold out for so long. So when I saw them come back into stock, I was taking no chances. I ordered 4 different shades because I had no idea how quickly they would sell out again. So here we are with way too many concealers. Story of my life. Not that many people have been talking about this concealer on YouTube, but I have seen it all over Instagram. A bunch of my Instagram friends have been raving about it. I will admit I am a concealer junkie, so whenever a new one hits the scene, especially one with this much hype, one that sells out and stays sold out for so long, I feel like there's something to that, so I had to try it for myself. This concealer comes in 18 shades and it retails for $7. You can find it at Ulta and also from the Makeup Revolution website. If you've seen it somewhere else, leave a comment and let us know where we can keep our eyes peeled for this one. The label on this concealer says that it contains 4 grams of product or 0.14 ounces. So it's definitely not a huge tube of concealer, but hey guys, it's $7. The packaging is a very pretty rose gold. This is all plastic and it does have that big giant cupped doe foot applicator, just like the Shape Tape. I've actually seen a lot of people comparing the formula of this to Shape Tape as well. That made me a little nervous. Shape Tape and I haven't really gotten along too well. I feel like I'm the only person on the planet that is not obsessed with Shape Tape. I just don't feel that it looks great in my under eye area. It looks great for spot concealing on other places on my face, but it's just too matte for my under eyes. I am gonna do a coverage test, this Makeup Revolution concealer versus Shape Tape. That's actually why I got my guns out today, because we're gonna use my tattoo and see if the coverage is similar. Before we start comparing these two concealers, I just want to show you a quick demo of me applying this concealer to my under eye and also to other areas of my face. I swatched all 4 shades that I ordered, but I ended up using C2 and C3. I felt that C4 was just a little bit too pink toned for me, and C5 was a little bit too dark and a little bit too yellow. I already had my foundation on and I applied a few dots of C2 to my under eye area. The Makeup Revolution website recommended only using a few dots at a time because it is very pigmented. Then I just blended that out with a damp Real Technique sponge. It didn't have as much coverage as I was expecting it to, because in my mind I was expecting a Shape Tape kind of coverage. So I decided to see how it layers on itself. I added just a couple more dots to that under eye area and blended it out, again using my damp sponge. I was really happy with how this layered. It did not look super cakey and cracky. Even though this says it's a matte finish, I definitely didn't have the same creasing issues with this one as I did with Shape Tape. Of course, I had to finish off my look, so I added it to my other under eye, as well as other areas of my face where I typically conceal, on my chin, around my nose, and in the center of my forehead, just to balance out that highlighting effect. I was really happy with how this looked overall on my face. So I finished up my makeup off camera and I've been wearing this concealer for about 5 hours now. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a close-up of what this looks like with other makeup on top. I did use a setting powder. I used my Too Faced Born This Way powder. This is what it looks like after 5 hours of wear. Now that you've seen this Makeup Revolution concealer in action, you've seen what it looks like after wearing, let's go ahead and compare it to this baby right here, Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This is the most popular concealer in the world. I know tons of people love it. It's well loved on YouTube. It's a huge seller. I'm not that crazy about it. Like I mentioned earlier, it just doesn't really look that great in the under eye area, and that's really where I want my concealer to do work. Before we test these concealers side by side, let's talk about some of the obvious similarities and differences between the two. As far as similarities go, they're both supposed to be super high coverage, matte concealers. They have a similar applicator. You can see this big giant cupped doe foot applicator. The Shape Tape one is slightly larger. I am not a fan of this applicator. I don't need my concealer applicator to be that big. It looks like a foundation applicator to me. But that's just me, to each their own. As far as obvious differences between the two, the Shape Tape concealer is much bigger. There's more than double the product in here. The Shape Tape concealer says that it has 0.338 fluid ounces, while the Makeup Revolution one only has 0.14. So there is a lot more product in the Shape Tape concealer. Of course, the Shape Tape is much more expensive. This one comes in at 27 bucks. The Makeup Revolution one is only $7. But before you start thinking it's a better investment to go with the more product for more money, think about this. The Tarte Shape Tape says that it expires after 6 months. 6 months. Someone mentioned that to me on Instagram and I looked, and lo and behold, on the bottom here there's a little sticker that gives you a recommended expiration, and this one says 6 months. Now, my Makeup Revolution concealer does not have an expiration date on it, but I checked my other concealers to see how normal this is, and all of the other ones I found in my drawer say either 12 or 18 month recommended shelf life. I don't know who in their right mind could go through this much of this pigmented concealer in 6 months, but hey, I mean, people are piling it on in their YouTube videos, so maybe they're going through it in 6 months, I don't know. I'm not saying you have to throw away your concealer if you've had it for longer than 6 months. I'm just giving you the facts. They say 6 month expiration date, that's what's on there. I'm not the expiration date police, but just for your own information, that's what it says. Now it's time for these two concealers to battle it out. The battlefield is my tattoo. I've got a lot of nice, super dark colors here. So we're gonna see which one has the best coverage. This is very scientific. This symbol is called a clada, if you didn't know that. A bunch of other stuff here, but we're just gonna use this part. This has a lot of nice dark colors and dark lines. So first we're gonna take the Shape Tape. This is in the shade Light Neutral, and I'm gonna apply that to this side. Just did 4 dots there. Gonna use my sponge to blend it out. Pretty decent coverage. We're gonna do the Makeup Revolution on this side. This is the shade C2, and I'm gonna do the same thing, just apply 4 dots. So far, I think the Shape Tape is better coverage on the first application. Now I wanna kind of go for it. I know that this is gonna make it harder to compare them evenly because I just wanna like chunk some on there. I'm just gonna put a big stripe on there and see if I can really get this tattoo covered up. If tattoos offend you, then this probably isn't the video for you. I mean, this is a very dark tattoo, so I'm impressed with that coverage. Let's do the same thing with the Makeup Revolution one. Just put a couple of stripes on there and see if we can't get this baby covered up. I think once they're layered up, the coverage looks pretty similar. I think if you just do one application, then the Shape Tape has more coverage. But once they're both on there, I mean, I think that looks pretty similar coverage-wise, don't you? This is such a dark tattoo. It's really impressive how much this has covered, honestly. I know I could have done a side-by-side on my under eyes, but I think this way is more interesting. So what's the verdict? Are they dupes? I think they are close. I know that's not a great answer. I know when it comes to duping, you're looking for a definitive yes or no. In my experience, on first application, Shape Tape has more pigmentation, while the Makeup Revolution one is more buildable. It's still a pretty darn good coverage. This is definitely not like a light medium coverage. This is just one step below the mega full coverage that Shape Tape has. When it comes to concealer, at least in my opinion, coverage isn't the whole story. You also want to talk about texture. I just appreciate the texture of the Makeup Revolution one a little bit more. I have dry skin, I'm over 30, so these super pigmented, super duper matte face products really do not work well for me. If you've had the same experience with Shape Tape looking really crepey and kind of gross in the under eye area, try this one. You're still gonna get great coverage from it, but it's just a little bit more forgiving in the under eye area, and I also think this looks great on other places on my face. Like I said, I have dry skin. I typically am not a fan of matte concealers. This one doesn't dry quite as quickly as the Shape Tape, so when it comes to blending out and setting your face, this one's a little bit more forgiving in that department as well. It may be a little bit more difficult to get your hands on, but it also has a slightly better shade range than Shape Tape. Shape Tape comes in 14 shades. The Makeup Revolution one comes in 18. So if you've struggled to find your shade match in Shape Tape, you should go and take a look at the Makeup Revolution one. They may be offering you something that Shape Tape isn't. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these concealers. Are you a die-hard Shape Tape lover? Have you tried this Makeup Revolution one? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment and let us know. As always, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Shape Tape fans, please don't come for me, okay? If you love it, I'm happy for you. I just don't love it. There's more Shape Tape for you. Conceal and define. I keep wanting to say conceal and contour. Conceal and define. Get it together. 6 months. Girl, what you doing? Huh? As well as other areas of my face. Wow. Talk much? No, not really. My beauty room's a mess. Send help. I'm fine. You really need to calm down. Nothing. What? The light's gonna change? You don't know what to say? Hey, it's just a typical day making YouTube videos. I don't really show my tattoo that much. I wonder how people are gonna react. I mean, it's too late. It's already on there, so. Anybody out there who have tattoos, do people ever like try to touch your tattoos? As if they're gonna feel like something. It's literally just my skin. Like, it's just, there's no magic texture to it or anything. Don't touch me. Should have just gotten that tattooed on me. That'd be weird. Bye-bye now.